Hello, welcome back to Two Tip Tuesday with your Promethean education consultant, Allie. Today we're going to talk some more about ClassFlow, Promethean's cloud-based lesson delivery system that allows you to actively engage with your students in either the remote, the hybrid, or the face-to-face model, whether or not you have a Promethean panel in your classroom. So this software is extremely powerful. It is free to use and anyone is able to use it. So today we're going to take a look at the first few steps of creating a lesson and some of the tips that I would give you. So here I am on my ClassFlow landing page, logged in as a teacher. I am going to click Create Lesson. First thing I always do, this is a bonus tip because I've said it before, is I rename my lesson because otherwise I'm going to end up with a bazillion untitled lessons. So today, I'm going to title my lesson Multiplication Facts times 2. Now, again, I can go here and save, but since this is cloud-based, any changes I make right now, I will save. Now, a lot of people have questions about the student card. The first tip I'm going to give you is that the student card does not appear unless you put it there. And so you can see here, I've clicked on my teacher student display, the Rubik's Cube down at the bottom, and you will see that right now in section 1, I have a blank teacher card, but I have a plus on my student card, which means there is nothing there. It's waiting for me to add. But also, if I were to say, duplicate to student card right now, you would see that student card is blank. Watch that student card because that's one of my tips for today. So I am going to go ahead and add a background by clicking on my cog and change background. And so I can change that background to any of the compatible things that I have. I can click on the background images that are already there in ClassFlow. And so from here, I'm going to click on the road field, and I'm going to select that. Now, I asked you to keep an eye on this student card. Notice that student card did not change. So it doesn't automatically change that student card just because I put something on my teacher card. So I will need to change that student card. So my first tip was to make sure if I wanted a student card there, I could add it. I can leave that there for now, and I'll show you what I need to do as I change that. So my second tip is going to have to do with text. On my text, it automatically always comes up here. I always drag it to the middle of my screen. Now, for a lot of text boxes that we're used to using, we double click twice and it highlights that click here to add text. ClassFlow, it doesn't do that. I just start typing and it will automatically default to what I used before. Since I'm already logged in and I was working in ClassFlow before, it's automatically defaulting to Century Gothic 96 because it remembered that was the last one I used. Had I not been working in ClassFlow with text, it would automatically default to a much smaller size font. But since I was working here, it will remember what I was working in. So you'll notice it automatically defaults to the same size window. So I'm just going to use my drag bar and drag that to where I want it to be. Now, if I come over here to this card and I choose my cog and duplicate to student card, you'll notice that duplicates immediately over to my student card. So here I'm working in my student card because that has the green highlight around it. Here I'm working on my teacher card. Now, my second tip for today is text you do not want to have moved, or you do not want the students to be able to move. You're going to need to anchor. So again, I'm going to come onto the card I want to anchor, choose my cog, and then I'm going to click anchor. I can click lock text, or I can click anchor, and I'm going to click anchor all. Now, that does not necessarily anchor it here for me in my delivery mode, but when I click on my preview mode, you'll notice I can't do anything to that text other than highlight and delete it. So I'm going to exit, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to click my undo or my Control Z to bring that back. Now, on my text that is now anchored, that is where I'm going to have it. I'm then going to choose to lock text. Now, remember on my student card, I haven't done any of that. So when I come to my student card, if I don't anchor, when I deliver this to my students logged into my class are not going to be able to move that text. So when I'm asking them to work with something and I send it as a creative poll, for instance, this text is not going to be able to accidentally be deleted by them, which I'm sure if you've worked in ClassFlow, you've had that happen where students have accidentally deleted something. And so when I anchor that text, my students are, and I lock that text, my students are not going to be able to mess up and accidentally delete that text. So my 2 tips for today are to, when you add the text, to make sure that you don't have to click and highlight that, so don't let that frustrate you. You can just type in. And then my second tip was to go into that cog and to anchor and to lock the text. So when you go to deliver that, you or the students won't be able to accidentally delete that text. Then remember, you'll notice here on my teacher card, I added something that did not show up on my student card. If I want that to show up on my student card, I have to remember to duplicate it to the student card. So remember, when working with ClassFlow, that it is available for you to make those on-the-spot changes, but you can also have a lesson created that you can deliver to a rostered class, or that you can deliver to your open class to receive those polling options in formative assessment, or to deliver those activities or those quizzes and assessments and have the students interact with them in real time.